All right, well, here we are in the vineyards at Jackson Triggs, and we're standing here with the National Director of Viticulture. Frank Helwig is here with us. Now, wow, these rows are unbelievable. They go on and on and on. Where are we exactly?
We're just at the back of Jackson Triggs. This is a Chardonnay block, and yeah, we've got beautiful sunshine today.
Oh, it's a perfect day. So tell us, how many acres of different varieties does Jackson Triggs have planted?
Around the winery here there's 13 acres, but we look after 540 acres across the peninsula. And yeah, all varieties essentially, from ice wine, Cabernet Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon, all the reds, all the whites, predominantly Sauvignon Blanc, Chardonnay, Riesling.
Now, you're originally from Australia, we understand, right? And didn't you start off as a dairy consultant? And how did you end up in grapes and wine?
My wife moved up to Mudgee, which is northwest of Sydney, a wine growing region, and the dairy industry was in a bit of a slump. And I arrived in town with an agriculture degree, and there was big drought in Australia at the time, nothing to do. And the wine industry was the only thing that was employing at the time. And now, 16 years later, it's sort of history. I sort of fell into it, if you like. I started on the weighbridge assessing fruit, and the next thing you know, I've been managing vineyards for probably 15 years.
Now, how do you like living in Canada and Niagara?
Yeah, we love it. We've been here for 6 years now. I think it's you know, huge potential industry. I love the region. I think the wines speak for themselves. They're great food wines, so yeah, really enjoying it.
And a very different profile for the wines here in what would be considered a sort of a northern climate to the climate that you were used to in Australia.
Yeah, I think it's I think Kim Crawford once said it to me, that it's not necessarily cool climate, it's short season. And I think that best describes it. And in Niagara we have a very short period of time from bud burst to flowering, and then pretty much the time from flowering and fruit set right and through until picking is pretty much the same as what it is in most regions. So that's where we sort of make up our time. But as soon as the days are like this, the nights are 20-odd degrees, the vines are growing day and night.
So speaking of weather, what is the 2010 vintage looking like? I'm pretty sure it's pretty fantastic.
I mean, all indications are right now it's looking amazing. I mean, we're looking at we look at growing degree days as one of our biggest indicators, so that's time above 10 degrees, and we are in front of where we were in 2007.
Oh, and that was an exceptional year.
Fantastic for Bordeaux Reds. So yeah, all indications are, you know, it should be amazing. We've got no disease issues. I mean, everything's looking, yeah.
And
I don't want to say too much too early.
What is this? You said this is Chardonnay?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is Chardonnay. It's using the estate wines, the Grand Reserve, and also the sparkling we pick from this block as well.
And what should a grape be looking like at this stage of the game? Does this look like a healthy bunch of grapes?
Absolutely. These are at what we call bunch closure. So we've de-leafed them at the moment because we want as much airflow as we can.
Right.
Again, to prevent disease, allow our protection to get in there. They're looking fantastic at the moment. I'm really happy.
Is there any one grape that you think really has hit its mark or hit its stride?
I would have to say Pinot Noir. I've worked very closely with Tom.
Break.
Absolutely, it's an absolute bugger to grow, but I think it's probably the most rewarding. I just really love the layer. When you get it right, you get the layers of complexity and flavour. You enjoy a glass top to bottom, and then another one.
And another one, and another one perhaps.
I think that's my favourite part about it. It's because it is so difficult, I think it is so rewarding.
Well, it has to struggle as well. I think, you know, the grapes have to really struggle to make it, just like I think in people, like you have to struggle to build character. And the same thing with the Pinot Noir.
Well, and they're so expressive, you know, between clones, between sites, they might only be short distance apart, but they're completely different. You know, it's a real character wine, I think.
Now, do you have to work closely with Marco, the winemaker here, or do you do your own thing and he shows up later, or how does that all work?
No, it's Marco and I. It's like a marriage. It has to work really well.
The Aussie and the Italian together again.
Strange, but no,
it's bedfellows. No.
No, it's. Yeah, I mean, during vintage, when we're picking, I mean, he and I are out in the vineyards daily.
Yes.
We pick, although we get our numbers on, you know, bricks and titratable acidity and those things, we always pick on flavour. He and I have worked closely, probably over the last 3-4 years, to really hone in on what are individual special parcels. So really, you know, we've got access to all this fruit, and we cherry pick what's the best for the really high end.
Well, they say
wines.
wine really starts in the vineyard with the grapes, right?
Yeah, I think. You know, Marco would say that as well. I mean, I try to make sure he's got the best material to work with, and then after that, he's on his own.
But there you go.
Well, Jackson Triggs is known for like the many awards that you guys have won, the gold medals. You're so well accomplished. You're one of the premier wineries in the entire of Canada, I would say. So congratulations to you.
Well, thank you. I think it's down to a great team. We've got a fantastic team of people, and it's Marco and I stand up front, but we've got brilliant people behind us who are very dedicated, and we're very thankful and lucky.
Okay, well, the Aussies are known for Shiraz, obviously, and I think Jackson Triggs also has some fantastic Shiraz as well. Is that right, Frank?
Absolutely. In 2004, when I arrived, I remember doing the first classification tasting. And looking at the Shiraz on the list, and I thought, this can't be right. I think they've got this wrong. I think they're crazy.
You think it was a different grape? Is that what it was?
I thought, how can they possibly do it any better than what we did at home? And I'd have to say I was pleasantly surprised. I'm fascinated by the grape. It's tough to grow, and it has to be on the right site. Site is critical here in Niagara. Yeah. But when you get it right, you have this amazing white pepper that really sticks in your mind. It's such a distinctive grape. It's very complex. It's more sort of Rhone-like, but it's still very Niagara. I think it's got huge potential. It's just a shame we can't do it on a big scale, but I think that adds to its unique qualities, I guess.
You know what, I have to say, we tasted I think it was called Syrah, maybe it was Shiraz, at the East Meets West dinner that we had last year, and I remember commenting on the white pepper was unbelievable. It was such an elegant, delicious Syrah or Shiraz. Is it Shiraz or Syrah?
Well, they call it Syrah in Niagara, and then we've got a Shiraz out in the Okanagan.
That's right. Yeah, it was just amazing, though, I have to say.
Yeah, no, beautiful wine.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, well, you can hear a lot of commotion on the other side. The winemaker dinner is going on full strong, and we've just pulled out the co-founder of Jackson Triggs Winery. Dr. Alan Jackson is here with us here this evening. Dr. Jackson, how are you?
I am great. How are you, Susanne? Welcome to Jackson Triggs. It's wonderful to have you both here.
Thank you. We're thrilled to be here. This is a very exciting night you have going on here this evening.
I'm going to have an even more exciting night coming up with the Canadian Tenors, who are not only fabulous singers, but they're the nicest people you would ever want to meet.
We're looking forward to meeting them.
They're not too hard on the eyes.
They're just terrific guys.
Yeah. Now you must be thrilled. I know you started the winery here in 1993, and to see it the way it is right now, it's absolutely a spectacular place. And how did you decide? It's an unusual architecture, this building as well. How did you decide on developing the winery like this?
We didn't do it ourselves. What we did was we found a really good person.
Oh, we've got
an
some
architect.
wine. Candace, bring it over here.
Bring it over, Candace.
Yeah, Candace. There you go. A little bit of rosé, I think, right?
This is the 2008 Cabernet Franc Rosé, and it's quite a dry rosé. It's just off dry.
Okay, so they're enjoying this at the dinner next door?
That was with the first course, which was heirloom tomatoes, and it was all a locavore and cheese from the cheese company in Jordan. So it was wonderful.
I heard Chef David describing it. It sounds amazing. Cheers, everybody, with the 08 rosé.
Beautiful color too.
Well, that's the nice thing about rosé, I think.
Yeah. Very nice.
It does everything. It's beautiful to look at and beautiful to taste, and very unique.
It's quite versatile too, isn't it, Alan?
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
You can have it on its own. You can have it with dinner. Nothing goes better with like tomatoes or strawberries than Cab Franc Rosé.
Yes, no, it's absolutely delicious.
And the really neat thing is the Cab Franc Red is better as a result, because when we drain off the juice that goes into this, we end up with more skins left. And so, the more skins you have in a red wine, the bigger the red wine is. So it's a win-win situation.
Now you get two drinks for the price of one.
I wanted to ask Alan, I know that the Canadian wine industry is really been around, what would you say, about 30 years now in full throttle, would you say that?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Around 1980
and you kind of started around that time as well, right?
Yeah, I started studying in 1970, but I got employed in 1977. So
it took 7 years to get a job.
It did.
Well, did it take a lot of courage to get started in the business because it was quite a bit in its infancy still. Did you know right off the start that you thought Niagara would be a great region for Canadian wines or for
I've heard the word insanity used more often than courage, I must.
Well, with good, I mean, not with good reason, with insanity, but it was a good decision, obviously, to plant the vineyards and to get involved.
Right.
You've won many awards.
So what do you think the future of the Canadian wine industry is?
I think the future is doing what we do best, which sounds silly, but growing, the further north you grow any fruit or vegetable, the more character it has.
Yes.
So you can basically make wine in two styles, very simply put. You can make it fruit forward, which is to put the emphasis on the fruit character.
Yes.
Or you can make it complex, in which case you probably want to put oak on it and blend it together.
Yes.
But we have a natural advantage because we hang on to so much fruit character. In the best example I can think of, in warmer parts of the world, they blend Viognier in with Shiraz to give it some fruit character.
Yes, that's right.
And if you taste our Shiraz from Niagara or from the Okanagan, the last thing we need to do is add a white wine to it to give it fruit character, because it's got all kinds of fruit character. I remember the first time we had Shiraz, this was from the Okanagan. I was at a conference where there were a bunch of Australians, and I pulled out a bottle. It was actually a tank sample of the Shiraz,
yes,
and poured it for them, and they were all astounded. They thought, oh, that's what kind of fruit character Shiraz had, because they had never experienced it really.
So they thought you were putting in a ringer maybe of some kind, and that wasn't actually a Canadian wine at all.
You add flavors to this.
Well, I know that we were talking with Frank earlier, as well as Marco, and they talked a lot about the Syrah and the Shiraz and how it is a really prominent, a wonderful grape to be growing here, and they're making fabulous wines now with that grape.
We are. One of the really great things about Shiraz/Syrah is that it's a fairly early ripening variety, which makes it great for our climate, because we're never quite sure if we're going to get all the heat units we want or not.
Well, we've certainly been having a lot of heat this summer.
We sure have.
Oh my goodness.
So those Shiraz and Syrah grapes must be looking pretty plump right now. Lots of sugar in concentration.
You know, we were actually a little worried about that back in April.
Yes.
Because it was so warm in March and April that the vines had really developed, and they developed nice sort of shoots about 10 centimeters long.
Yes.
And that means they're very vulnerable to a frost.
Yes, right.
And as we found out kind of the hard way in May, when the weather got cooler again, we got back to more of a typical Niagara weather season. So we had a few nights where we were kind of worried about frost happening, which would be devastating to the grapes.
But they survived.
They did, and they're looking wonderful.
They are indeed, yeah. Well, we look forward to the 2010 vintage, that's for sure. We hear it's going to be amazing.
It's looking great.
And I think Dr. Allen is missing the first course, so we should probably let him get back to the winemaker's dinner. What do you think, Georgia?
Absolutely. We want to thank you, though, Dr. Allen Jackson, for joining us here today.
Well, thank you, wine ladies, for coming down here. You're always welcome here. You're a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Cheers.
It's a wonderful night.
All right, so we're here at the winemaker's dinner. Let's talk to a couple of folks and see what they've been eating and drinking here this evening.
Absolutely, let's do it. Who's our first victim, Susanne?
How about this gentleman? Hello.
Good evening. I'm a victim, am I? Okay.
How are you enjoying the evening so far?
Fantastic. It's a lovely meal, and the wine is just exquisite. It's
is
really
this your
great.
First time at Jackson Triggs?
Yeah, first time for this kind of event. We've driven by, but this is the first time we're actually inside and enjoying the wine and the meal. It's wonderful.
Now, where are you from?
We're from Whitby, Ontario, which is east of Toronto area. Yes.
Excellent, excellent. And you're going to enjoy the Canadian Tenors this evening.
We're so excited about that. We've seen them on TV, but this is our first time to see them in person, and we're just looking forward to that event. It's going to be amazing.
Well, we're looking forward to that too, I might add, aren't we, Georgia?
Absolutely. We're going to talk to every single one of them in detail. How are things going so far here?
Excellent.
Now, what is going to be the highlight of your evening? You've got amazing food, fantastic wine, and you're here for what else?
The Canadian.
Yahoo! The Canadian Tenors, yeah. Are you enjoying yourself so far?
Yes, very much.
Yeah. Have you been to Jackson Triggs before?
Yes, we have. Yes.
And where are you from, Anne?
We're from Enniskillen, Ontario.
From where? Sorry?
Enniskillen, Ontario.
Oh, okay. Oh, awesome. Well, great to have you here.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoy yourself, and we'll be cheering with the Canadian Tenors with you.
Definitely.
All right. All the best. See you soon. Thanks, Anne. Well, it looks like everybody is really excited about this evening. And actually, I think it's our time to go up and talk to the Tenors right now.
That's right. exclusive interview with all of them. I can hardly wait to. Let's go, Susanne.